Yes, sir.
Welcome, young children, to another little special podcast. I am joined here by some little friends. But first, let me introduce myself. I am Sterling Silver. How you doing? I'm doing fine. With me, we have the illustrious Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Now, I will take my time to introduce myself, make no mistake. But before we go further, there's something that I have to clear up first.
Uh-oh.
How do I know that I am not in the company of demons right now? Both of you seem pretty dissatisfied with society, so I don't know. All I'm saying is you could pop at any moment. There's no telling anymore.
Hey, dude,
It's a crazy world.
I'll be the first one to let you know if I have a frenzy frog inside of my body, but you know, as long as I have dung ball generic, it's not a problem.
Perfect.
Uh-huh.
I
And,
am pretty good. I'm alright.
the boy who's talking right now, Josiah. Who are you?
Yes, my name is Josiah Biggs. I'm formerly known as Christian Westland Chandler online is my handle. I wore a fake bodysuit for many years as a publicity stunt for the new Bionicle series and for Sonic Team. You know, after leaving that chapter of my life, I don't like to put it on LinkedIn, but it's still on there for references. I mean, my resume isn't very large because usually what I just do is pop culture and publicity stunts for outrageousness. You know, my pseudonym aside, you know, I've got a family with 3 children and live, you know, and within the countryside of Wisconsin, you know, Lake Country. And I do enjoy a good cheese tart every once in a while. So
Now, to be fair, if someone were to tell me that they don't like a cheese tart, then listen, I don't think any of us need that kind of negativity in our lives. That's how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Thank you very
Alright.
much.
Mm-mm.
Yes, sir.
Big gulps. Alrighty. So, why are we here today, Matthew?
We're here
What type
take
of
drugs and take part
podcast
in the
is this
Sabbath.
going to be? Ooh.
Yeah, the Sabbath is coming.
Oh. And what is this a reference to?
It's a reference to the illustrious Devilman Crybaby.
so it's a reference to my life, fuck boy.
Yeah! That's how it be.
Oh boy, so yeah. We're gonna be talking about Devilman, a Devilman Crybaby. Let's get this out of the way since I'm pretty sure you didn't really see anything else other than Devilman Crybaby, Matthew.
What? That's a really harsh accusation. I don't know about that, Sterling. Come on now.
Well, I mean,
Well, you
is
finished
it
the series
true?
in 2-3 weeks, so you couldn't have possibly watched anything else. Bazinga.
He's not wrong, folks.
But yeah, back in the day when me grandpappy were still alive, Devilman was created in 1979 or 8?
Yeah, 79 or
I
78,
believe.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's older than dirt.
Because some producers and boys were interested in this little known guy named Go Nagai, or Go Nagai, I believe, whatever.
Yep.
And he was creating this mango that was called Demon Lord Dante,
That's right.
and that was like extremely graphic in its nature. But they were like, "Hey, how can we market this to kids? Oh, I know. Let's make
Let's make a series called
series."
Violence Jack.
Almost, but yeah. Like, why don't we just like have all that assets put to use in like a kid-friendly show, quote unquote, and just call it Devilman? Like, all right. So they do that.
Oh yes,
They-
let's induce whipping people for subservience and a mild BDSM for children.
Yeah. having the almost half of the townspeople die off in one episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right.
Don't forget about the award-winning series Rising Thunder.
I don't think you understand, Matt. Like 40 people die at least in every episode of Devilman.
Like
Yeah.
the original.
Yes.
Fuck.
Well,
Okay. All right.
well, quote unquote original.
Well, yeah,
Because
yeah,
at
well.
the same time, he Go Guy was also creating the manga that we all know somewhat about today. Because it's been whatchamacallit?
It's been a long time, is, what it's been.
Reinstated or
Remastered or
whatchamacallit. Remastered, yeah. What you see in Devilman Crybaby is pretty close to what Devilman's manga was. And
Okay.
yeah, the show, however, the first show was just pretty much an episodic thing of about, I believe, 70 to 80 or 60. I don't know.
I think it's 60
somewhere around there.
episodes, and
Yeah,
and it was your
And-
Monster of the Week variety.
yeah.
And to be fair, for episodes 1 through 7 of Crybaby, it's fairly episodic itself until
Somewhat,
last few
yeah.
when everyone. Whoa, wait, no, hang on.
Oh, yes.
Not gonna spoil it, but things go
Yes.
bad.
So fast forward a couple of years, that manga is pretty popular with them old boys, and in I believe the 80s, I'm just gonna give a generic value. They say, hey, why not just create an OVA of the mango? Like, alright, let's just have Devilman The Birth. So pretty much what that was an OVA of like the first chapters of Devilman, and where it started and ended was him becoming Devilman, and that's pretty much it. And some say they like that OVA more than anything else, which I won't begrudge them. It's a pretty good OVA, albeit. And then its sequel came out, which is Devilman and the Demon Bird, I believe, which is a very, very weird way to start a sequel, but alright, fine. Which is just the Demon Bird that Devilman fights with, and that's pretty much it. And then for some odd reason in the 90s, like, hey, you know all that stuff that we were doing at the OVAs? Yeah, let's just forget about that and let's focus on Devilman Shin. Oh boy, this new manga that's
Shin
coming out, and like, as like a homage to, I guess, the fans, like, why not just make it the end of Devilman? Let's just make that one thing. Like, okay, what could possibly go wrong? A lot of things, but it was met with fairly poor reception, but a lot of people liked it for what it was, because it was quote unquote the ending of Devilman, which you know how that goes down in Devilman Crybaby. And
Yes, sir.
then there was some like spin-offs here and there. Devil Lady, they did a horrible anime adaptation of Demon Lord Dante.
And there was Honey, I Shrunk the Devil Man.
Yeah, pretty much about
The
all that.
controversial Disney release.
Yep, yeah. Especially
Disney's
that.
gone too far this time.
Especially that
This
ending
time.
though. But yeah. And yeah. Years passed and we were like, what's up? What's up with Devilman Netflix? Oh wait, what? Devilman on Netflix? What's this?
Devil flicks.
By the person who did Ping Pango the animation and Mind Game? Oh boy, this gotta be good. And of course,
Sterling delicately rubbed his hands together and his mandibles clicked with anticipation.
yes. So, yeah. Where do we want to start on this little thoughts on Devilman Crybaby? I guess, Matthew, do you want to take the reins? Since you're
Yes.
the one who barely watched it after all these months of it
Barely.
already being...
Sterling, I watched an anime that came out in the year that it came out. I watched an anime in the year that it came out.
Okay.
Is this not a step forward?
I
why the
mean-
constant criticism
I mean,
on your behalf?
I mean, it could have been sooner, but you know.
Oh. Next time, buddy.
Mhm.
Oh man, I don't know. There's a whole lot to say about Devilman, and a lot of it is good, and a lot of it is equally depressing.
Depressing in the good way.
Well,
And the
there is
expected way.
no other way.
Uh-huh.
That's how you craft a fine piece of
Subverted
fine piece of
expectations.
literature. Yes.
Mhm.
I had my initial first nods of hey, what's Devilman Crybaby about when I was listening to the Friendcast, and
Uh-huh.
Wooly was talking about how hey, I knocked off the first couple episodes of it, and I got a couple words thrown at me that I had absolutely no context of. Fucking Sabbath, Akira, masturbating in the auditorium, and listen, there were more than enough things to appease and interest me, but I never got the real drive, the real desire to jump into Crybaby until recently.
Mm-hmm.
See, I've got a bit of a system in which I do things, where I like to check things out based on, check out a new franchise based on how it came out first. So, for example, if I was watching Naruto, for example, nowadays, as opposed to when it came out, I would have said, not watching one episode of the anime, no sir, just the manga, nothing else, and when I'm done, then I can watch the anime.
Mm-hmm.
But I made a bit of an exception here, because I did my research and found out that Crybaby is essentially a remake of the original Devilman.
Mm-hmm.
So if this essentially follows the original plot perfectly, and the original Devilman manga was also cut short, I found out, then I can go off and check out a partially incomplete project with Demon Lord Dante. Or I can just say, fuck everything. If the first one's not even finished, why don't I just start where I want to? I can just start wherever the fuck I want to. I can start with Lady Devilman. I can start with Devilman versus Mazinger Z. I can do whatever the fuck that I want to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, listen, the guys have been spinning a yarn about Crybaby. They say it's real good.
Uh-huh.
They say it's something impressive. And overall, this was like an 8.5, maybe even a 9 on a scale of 10 for me, because it appeased the phase that I'm going through right now, where I seem to be soaking in as much depression as I possibly can, because I'm going in hard on Bloodborne nowadays. I'm enjoying that a hell of a lot. So between that and Crybaby, nowadays there's just a whole lot of sad surrounding me in the media that I'm taking in.
Well, yeah,
So,
now that
this
Overwatch
was
is
perfect
dead.
for me.
Yeah.
Now that Overwatch is dead. Now that Wrecking Ball is something that didn't exist, and I don't have to think about it. I just ignore him altogether. So yeah, I would have to say my impression of the 10-episode run was pretty fantastic. I was skeptical right away after finishing off episode 1, to be honest with you, because I booted it up, and I'm like, what the fuck are these visuals? This art style looks jank as shit. It looks terrible. I watched episode 1 at my buddy Bjorn's place, who you are familiar with. I booted up Crybaby. I'm like, hey, let's give this a watch, and all that pretty much ensued was me going, what the fuck is this? This looks like fucking trash, and just extreme laughter from both of us over the hard sex scenes in the club. So that was a lot of fun, and yeah, as I mentioned in the group, it's not the kind of thing that you want to be watching when casual passersby could be hanging about. No, they'll get the wrong impression of you or the right impression of you. That's a big problem. So that's what I got so far. It's I love it, to be honest with you. It's one of the best things that I've seen recently. So that's the general breakdown of how I got into it.
So what are your thoughts from I guess the manga point of view of it being influential towards all this other stuff, like namely, I don't know, Berserk, and being somewhat of a, oh hey, that thing happens in Berserk, wait a minute,
That
oh
thing
boy.
happens. Are you trying to tell me that Rio and Griffith might have some similarities? You telling me they might have something in common? Yes, they do. They feel like quite similar characters, though
Their ambition is a little bit
Rio
weird,
has a
but
key
yeah.
advantage in the fact that his story was told and ended. That was nice.
Gasp.
Sure did like that.
But
But yes, it's after checking out Crybaby, it's clear to see where its influence bled over into the rest of the industry. So now I can go forward, happy that I took a look back and see where this all came from. You know.
Now, technically, when you said that the story has ended, technically you're correct, and technically you're also wrong, because Violence Jack, cough cough, not a very good anime watch, but a manga read is a fine read. It's a very subtle sequel.
Yes,
to
very
Devilman.
Very subtle.
I'll say that, but it becomes unsubtle when Shin Violence Jack comes about. But yeah, that's all I'll
Is
say
it
about
about as subtle as a pool of ejaculate stuck on top of your ceiling?
Well, it's as subtle as it's not apparent that it's a sequel until its sequel is a sequel.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yes.
That's good stuff.
But yeah, what about you, Josiah?
Devilman right
Since
there.
I believe you also watched the original series, and what do you think about the parallels between
Oh, I got about
Devilman
20,
as a character?
I got 25 episodes into the original until I got the Urusei Yatsura syndrome, in which I'm like, okay, this is old anime, I don't need to watch anymore, I get it. Even if there is going to be some sort of amazing climax, I really don't care now.
Yeah, I get that.
Because the problem with old anime is that all the new anime that you absorbed, especially like the first animes that you were given as a young boy or young lass, were all compounded on tropes that were fleshed out in the late 60s, I'm sorry, late 60s, early 70s, going up to the 80s. And so a lot of the plot points are just recycled and reused or made better on the series, or made worse by the series you have now. And a never-ending cycle to try and come up with a better way to tell stories or to sell toys, depending on what your anime is supposed to do. And so, as far as that goes, yeah, it's very obvious that it was just, well, besides some of the more risque scenes in the original Devilman, which would suggest that it wasn't made for children, I believe there was a scene, whatever the lizard lady's name was, I forgot, but she had the older brother who could fly through the sky. It was like almost invincible and was super OP.
Yeah.
And then, so what did Devilman do? To weaken him, he stole his sister, who thought that she could run fast enough to get away from Devilman. He trapped her, put her up on a cross, and started whipping her.
Yep.
With very close detail to whipping what seemed to be a nipple on her chest. So yeah, and that went on for an annoyingly long amount of time. So this new Devilman definitely, gets to the point much quicker.
Of course.
It's a lot more condensed. It has very fast pacing, which you don't really see with the Monster of the Week series, which everything is spaced out. And so you just have like a structure like, oh, you grow stronger every single day, and oh, you got an enemy, oh, this one's just a little bit stronger, or it has a better gimmick than the last one, or this or that. Whereas in Devilman Crybaby, everything exponentially rises 2 levels of insanity very quickly. So, especially when more demon opponents show up, it definitely escalates. Also, there is I don't know. It's weird seeing that there is more collusion within the demon tribe in Crybaby, because there isn't like a heavy emphasis of it. Besides like Psycho Jack's memory and a couple episodes where they keep referring to him as Amon. There's only a few instances where they delve into it, and like the whole original series anime was all about the Devil Tribe and trying to take over the Earth. And why don't you just send all the devils out at once if you can send them out? But well, we're not here to talk about that sort of stuff. Because kids aren't supposed to think about that sort of stuff. But
No, sir.
it's interesting in its own right. Obviously, like I said, things only improve. Things are only supposed to improve with time. So Devilman was definitely much better than the original source material in a lot of different ways. Although I do like the setup of the original Devilman better. As like a general who's like, nah, dude, I found this hoe out here. I've just recently discovered thoughts, even though like every other demon girl is throwing herself at me. So yeah.
If you don't know, Matt, Devilman is a demon 100%, and he
Just
gets inside a kid who's
dead kid's
dead.
body.
And he's all like, now it's time to destroy the world. Wait, what? Who's this girl?
Who's this piece of
Oh,
ass?
wait, what? Alright.
Jesus.
Get away from me, demons. I'm gonna go with this girl and protect the world.
I'm in a Christian anime now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
For some reason, that resonates way more than just what we have in Devilman Crybaby.
Is so I'm gonna assume that Akira Fudo is not the main protagonist of every Devilman series.
he is. That's just the name that Devilman has in the original
that's
Devilman
the human name.
series.
That's the human he possesses and assumes the life of is.
And it's a little bit more interesting in the way that he goes about his daily life in that little original series, and it's very, very tongue-in-cheek. But yeah, it's with its problems, I will say.
It's
a fun to watch.
It's not perfect, but it has a little bit better like structural motivation. Although the plot doesn't super reinforce it as much as it should, and it falls into very classic tropes of that era.
Right.
It definitely is it's a very interesting premise for that era though that it came out in. So that's why it had such a big impact.
Yeah. Like for me, I got into it because somebody recommended that I watch the OVA. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll get to it when I get to it, and then like upon me researching, hey, let's see how many Devilman stuff is out. Oh wait, what? There's gonna be a new Devilman Netflix series, and it's made by the Ping Pong Boy. Oh, well, I better get on this very quick then.
Better get my penhold grip out.
And yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it, and of course started with the original series. And I kind of got a little bit sidetracked of thinking that the original series was a continuation. Well, the original series happens, and then the OVAs were a continuation of the original series, and how that original OVA ends, the third one. I'm like, oh my god! But no, they have nothing to do with each other, and I was like, that would have been cool though. But yeah, anyway, I really, really liked the way that, from my point of view, I always like deconstruction of anything. Like Hunter x Hunter is a deconstruction of Shonen, Evangelion is a deconstruction of Mecha and all that Cracker Jacks. And I was all like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was a Sentai show that was a deconstruction of Sentai or something like that? Something in that vicinity of Kamen Rider. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. This kind of is like that, in a way, a deconstruction. Not the way that I want it to be, but it's a way that is very much not conforming to the stereotypes of the Kamen Rider / Sentai, and it's very much like, woof, this is like very, very dark in some places, and very, very dark in especially of the gotta protect everything motto of the shows of Sentai and stuff like that. But
Protect.
Can't protect everything.
Or can you?
Can.
If you're
You just have to be
If you can time travel in your train, maybe.
well, no, if
some
you're
kind.
Kamen Rider Kabuto, nobody important ever dies. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then I was just like, oh wow, this is actually pretty cool. Even though that I'm not a very extremely familiar person when it comes to Sentai and Kamen Rider. I'm barely getting in my feet wet with Ultraman though, which is awesome. But yeah.
Is it awesome, or is it the cheesiest
It's-
shit in the set of the
it's-
universe?
It's the most cheesiest thing ever, and that's why it's awesome.
Okay. I don't have
Dude,
to trust you on it.
The whole fam, when I was watching Ultraman 80, because that's the one that I started with, I didn't really, because that's the only one that's for on streaming services that is for free. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just watch this. And the whole fam were laughing, and I was too, at the completely hokey, like fun, adventure-y, like fights with the big, huge monsters in like tiny cities. It's just hilarious, but it was fun. All in good fun. Anything else? Do we want to talk about the ending of Devilman?
I think it's
we
safe
should.
now. I mean, if Matt had the time to finish the series.
Well, at this point, everyone who cares about it has definitely seen it. Has to have.
Yeah, and anybody who's old enough already has seen it with a horrible adaptation of anime in 1999. But you know, cough cough.
Man, you're getting sick with all that coughing. You got a summer cold?
So
Got
how about
ulcers.
that episode 9?
Yeah, that episode
Yeah.
9 is pretty something.
It's quite something. I
You in the mood for a barbecue?
I watched episode 9 on the way to a friend's birthday party last weekend, so I was just sitting there on the bus, in the back seat, of course, so no one could peek over my shoulder and then go, "What is this hentai?" I was sitting in the back seat of the bus on the way from Mississauga to Toronto, and I'm like, "Yeah, gonna next episode of Crybaby." Miki's family got offed in the last episode, but I'm sure this one will be much easier, much more lighthearted and fun.
Well, you know,
it's
honestly,
gonna
it's
be-
their family's fault for, you know, raising such a stupid fucking child that he became a demon. Like, so, you know.
There you go. I booted up that boy, and 23 minutes later, all finished, and then I just kind of slouched down in the back of my seat, and my head went ajar, and I just gazed out the window like.
So you did you not even like think that it was going to happen, or because that's like
Okay, no. Let me break it down for you. I had theories before I went. Like, do you know how I told you guys, like, when I'd finished episode 4, like, okay, I have theories on how this is gonna end. Like, I think I got it. I think I got it down pat.
What a naive fool you were.
I got like 2 things right. Out of like all the theories that I had, like
that
I
it was
thought
going to be
like,
depressing.
I got this unlocked. This is easy. It's super predictable. Was not whatsoever. I had a theory that that since Rio was always at least slightly at odds with Akira, but he was never outright hostile, since he wanted to keep him as a friend and, as he stated many times, keep him alive. I had this wild theory that that Rio was connected to the church, or even like the fucking Vatican or something crazy like that, like some crazy religious shit, and was intending to harness the power of Amon to either destroy him or to use him as some sort of weapon. And that was not even slightly correct. Like, in a sense,
I mean,
Rio
he did pick
himself
up a
wanted
Bible,
to.
but you know.
Yeah, Rio himself wanted to keep him at hand for reasons that we found out later. But I was way off the mark. I thought that I went into this thinking that almost everyone was going to die, and I was mostly right there.
Yeah.
I was kind of incorrect in a sense, though, because even though there's a lot of deaths, it wasn't that mostly everyone dies. It's that literally every single character.
No, well,
ever
I mean,
possible got off.
It's more important that you state all life on Earth died.
Everything died.
Yes.
Everything
It wasn't that
died.
everybody died. It was that everything that could be considered living died.
Yes, sir. The only thing not dead at the end of Crybaby is God.
Well, yeah, because
Wait, God's not on Earth.
he
though.
has to create Violence Jack.
No, God just nuked Earth.
Yeah, I know, that's why.
He sent magic nukes.
Why do you think that there's a new world at the end with 2 moons?
Yeah?
Because Violence Jack has to have 2 moons in its planet.
Well, that and Star Wars, you know.
Then Star Wars. It's a,
The new Netflix, the
shortly
new
after-
Netflix exclusive, Star Wars 9. Oh boy, man, best
Dude,
timeline.
if that happened, oh boy. Greatest.
I got some thoughts in my head after finishing up 10, where I thought to myself, okay, what's going on with the ending there, as you pointed out, Sterling? Like, what's happening with Crybaby's ending? There was a scene with the planet in a very unstable prehistoric state towards the end, its very last shot. So I was like, oh, what's going on here? And I found out afterwards that, to the best of my understanding, Crybaby is part of basically, okay, so the Devilman franchise as a whole basically operates off of a constantly resetting timeline.
Yes.
Sort
where
of.
It seems like there's always a Rio and an Akira from what I
Yeah.
can see. Which threw me for a loop. I didn't expect that whatsoever. I thought it was just like, well, we're rebooting Devilman again, but hey, just so we can bring it to a new generation of people. And I thought that was the start and the end of it. I didn't expect anything like this is all part of some kind of interconnected timeline. It's just that this time maybe things will go better. And apparently they never do. But I can't confirm that firsthand. I've only seen Crybaby.
They only get worse.
They
Let's
only
just
get
say
that.
worse.
Better.
How can your ending get worse than Crybaby's?
Oh,
Wait, what?
I don't think you've ever even heard of Violence Jack, but you know.
I have not. Dude, I have not
Let's just
seen
say
a second
that
of, I haven't even seen 1 second of Violence Jack. Nothing.
Well, particularly just the manga, because the anime can go just rot. But you know, whatever.
And it does.
But yeah, there's let's say Devilman's manga ended, and it ended at like 11 on 10 of how depressing it is. Well, Violence Jack ups it by at least 20. That's about
Oof. That's not easy.
it. And
It's a rough
and
number.
it's
Try and swallow.
second series probably 30. Go Nagai is
Because-
pretty depressing as a writer and illustrator. But
Because I didn't.
He did-
I partially didn't even want to continue.
for reasons
I
that
was
he
done
had to
9.
keep saying, he had to create Mazinger Z and Cutie Honey and stuff like that. And he's like, all right, I gotta keep me sane, but when I'm right
Oh.
and good, I'll continue to create Violence Jack and Devilman.
Okay, so Cutie Honey is the puck of
Yeah.
Go Nagai's life.
No.
And in one of the Cutie
Bad
Honey
example.
animes, Akira Fudo has a cameo in one of the animes of Cutie Honey.
Oh,
Yeah.
does he Does he have a good time for once?
I don't really know. I
Is
only
he
know
not
that
horribly
he's
traumatized?
in there. I just refuse to watch Cutie Honey because it's not in my particular field of wanting to watch that kind of thing.
It's not gay enough for
Ugh.
stirring the watch.
Yeah, it reminds me too much of other things.
I am gonna look up Cutie Honey right now. See what it's all about. No, though, yeah, I thought I thought almost everyone was gonna die, and I was almost right.
Yeah.
And the way that the ninth episode in a particular handled the deaths of almost everyone that I cared about was particularly harsh.
Yeah.
And I will give the writers all due credit for making me really, really properly care towards the end, and have it all be stamped out,
Yeah,
stamped
I guess.
into dust. It's been a while since I'd been hit like that from an anime. Good stuff.
Any extremely last thoughts from you, Josiah, of the last episode?
I mean, it was a. I mean, the extreme violence was a nice touch. Like, it wasn't just that they killed her, as much as they barbecued her on steaks and paraded her around their burning house. I don't know. It was the raw sense of the emotions. Like when they started trying to stone Devilman, and then he didn't do anything. He was just crying and like begging, like just I don't know. There was just a sincerity of man, you know, like
Yeah.
at the ending, and just emotional fueled high. Expectations were not met. Weird things happened, but it all seemed like natural occurrences of like the state of being, you know, like the hysteria from thinking that gosh, what's her name, Miki was, you know, a witch who helped demons and this and that, and like the group panic and rage against her suddenly, and just like I don't know, it just I mean, it was super depressing, but it just felt like a breath of fresh air. Like they weren't holding anything back.
Yeah.
For the sake of
1000%.
like not offending anyone, you know, or they. I mean, it's just. It feels like this could have happened like without any supernatural things in there. Like these events could happen naturally, you know. Because you hear about these sort of things in history, like witch hunts and just terrible things that happen during war, and where eyes aren't looking, and they come out later, and somehow some miraculous person survives and lives to tell a tale, or there's some sort of history that we find about it, or people write notes. It's quite. It's interesting to have someone bring that into a modern setting, even with the supernatural touches. But also, especially how the way the cell phones work, and the collapse of current technology in society, and just the homeless camps, and people going to rushing to church because they don't understand what's going. It was a nice. I mean, because you used to see this sort of post-apocalyptic or nearly apocalyptic type thing in the '80s. Of course, when it was around, but in American films and stuff like that, it was a big topic of what would happen if everything just hit the fan? How would people react? And so people tried to envision their best guess or best estimates of how that would play out, without trying to be too over dramatic and make it seem sincere, while still keeping that raw emotion. It's interesting, and that's what I really liked about it. Also, the voice acting is done very, very well. There wasn't any cheesy lines, or I mean, there's parts of it that are stupid. There are parts where it's okay, this is dumb, or okay, this is this is here for this. Everything had a reason, It's like how what was it? One of my friends from work picked up JoJo, and she's been texting me while she watches it all the time, asking questions, and I'm trying and I'm trying to get her. I got her to stop for a while, but at the beginning she's like, oh man, this guy's stupid. It's why is there an ancient Tibetan monk named Tom Petty and all this stuff? I'm like,
why the fuck not?
Well, no, and she's like, this is really dumb. I'm like, yeah, it's supposed to be dumb. She's like, oh, okay. And then she just started watching it more, and it's because all that she had seen from JoJo were a couple memes, and I'd given her a shirt that I'd grown out of, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna start watching this. Of course, it's from part 3, so she doesn't understand at all what the shirt means yet. But
wait, sorry, did you just say that she started from?
No, I gave her a shirt that was from part 3, and that's what started her on the journey. Yeah.
You would have had to cut her out of your leg. That was a fucking close one.
If she starts at 6, she's okay with me.
No. Stop that.
I've actually been talking to you about how to start One Piece, and it's probably easier to read the manga.
Yeah.
Anything. Don't you talk. You've had plenty of time to ever get caught up or even watch current episodes. Don't even.
Wait,
yes.
Me? Dude, I'm fucking 4 chapters from being caught up.
I know, but the thing is that you already are so well versed within the One Piece universe that you can go back and watch all the subbed or dubbed Funimation versions and just skip out all the crap. I mean, within the last 3 weeks, I've watched the first 200 episodes of One Piece.
It's a lot of One Piece.
And now I didn't watch every single episode, because I know where to stop and where to start, and what's important and what's not. And I mean, but I don't just skip over major plot points, but I do skip over the ones where it's okay, they're just gonna re-examine the situation in this episode, and then we're gonna show some people running around, nothing's gonna get done next episode,
But then you're gonna miss the beautiful gags.
No. Humor is different than stretching out the episode for One Piece, and you know that. The humor is written in. Okay.
You're gonna miss the fight with the Kung Fu Dugongs.
No, I love the Kung Fu Dugongs. Don't you dare talk down to me about the Kung Fu Dugongs. Okay. They're still waiting there in the outskirts of Alabasta. Okay.
Yeah. No, the dugongs are wonderful.
But no, and because what was it? She was asking me about it. I'm like, okay, let me tell you arc by arc what happens basically. And I went back to make sure that everything I said was accurate, and it was. I'd still remember all the beginning One Piece, because before Water 7 things are a little jumbled. because I was so young when I first watched it, and 4Kids had a terrible way of not including big things, and some of it gets jumbled. Like I had almost forgotten that they had gotten Chopper before going to Alabaster, because the Drum Island arc I say arc, not saga. It's only a couple episodes. Like it's super short compared. That's the thing, is like until Alabaster, like everything leading up to that is really short, and then once they get to Skypiea, it hits like this amazing, like, oh man, this is like 30-40 episodes for this arc, you know, because usually they're hopping islands pretty quickly and getting stuff done, which I didn't realize until I went back and watched it again, that had happened so quickly, and that like it takes a big tonal change once they get to the Grand Line. Yeah,
everything in East Blue was pretty hardly condensed.
Yeah, it was like 6 to 8 episodes at max each island.
Oh yeah.
But
it was a good formula.
Yeah.
Kept things moving along. No complaints.
But all that going back to my friend was watching JoJo, and how stupid things can still be amazing. Yes, there's plenty of stupid parts in Devilman, but it doesn't detour back from like the core plot and the message of it, and that's what's important. Is that homosexuality is a sin, and that God will smite the earth for it.
Yeah, 100%. The start of episode 6 really throws you in there. Like, I didn't know what I was expecting. Like, Devilman had tempered my expectations, where it's like, do you like scenes of heterosexual sex? Well, boy, oh boy, we got plenty of those. We got some here, we got some there, we got a whole bunch. Who's to say how much sex we're gonna have here? Bam! Episode 6 drops. Oh, you thought we were afraid of the gay sex? Oh, you thought that we were afraid of that, did you? No, sir. There you go. Boom. Scene 1. Minute 1. Gotta love it.
Yeah. And the reason why, like, you might be thinking, oh, doesn't Sterling dislike that kind of stuff?
You hate everything.
The reason why
he hates everything that isn't gay sex.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Like any kind of like extreme sexuality depiction or whatever. Like, I am 100% fine if it's shown semi-realistic in the way that Devilman Crybaby shows it. In the way of, like, they're not, like, over-accentuating. Well, like, I guess you can say, like, they're over-characterizing it, like, as in, like, an animated point of view. But in, like, what it's conveying or what it's trying to do, it's not, like, the extreme importance of it or whatever. It's not, like, trying to get your giddies in like, a hard-on or whatever. It's not trying to do that. It's just like, yo, this is what's happening. And this story pretty much says, yeah, this is why it's happening and all that Cracker Jacks, and like it gives context to everything like that. I am completely fine with and enjoy in some cases. Like, all right, yeah, sure, if this is supposed to happen and this is what I'm supposed to be seeing, I'm completely fine with it. It just goes towards, if it's not being super etchy or whatever, like, I'm completely fine with it.
Well, yeah, as long as it's used to reinforce a person's character or a point in the plot, instead of just being there to have sex on the screen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because there is like
Speaking of having sex.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh,
what's up?
Speaking of having sex, how much of a fucking bro is a Rio, right? Like.
Right.
Let's be totally fair here. When your buddy's having a bad day, can't control his new demonic body, how do you go about handling the situation? Do you smack him one in the face, tell him to get everything under control, or do you look him dead in the eyes, You throw him some money, and you tell him, listen, if I find out this was used for anything but booze and hookers, I will be very disappointed in you, Akira. This is solely booze and hookers money, nothing else.
Plus, it also, for context as well, the director, and like the
Loves booze and hookers.
pretty much, but he has a way of finding things out in a way, like in the movie Mind Game. There's a lot of that kind of stuff in it, of like a lot of sexualization stuff like that, but it's never used in an ostentatious way of like, oh, gotta get your jammies off, oh boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very used effectively.
Well, there's sex scenes that are just there to arouse the viewer, and then there's ones that are used to, build. Gosh, how to put that in words?
Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah.
I know it's. I don't know, to convey a deeper meaning, whether it be some sort of deplorable or degeneracy, or rather it be like, there is a very graphic sex scene in Sunken Rock, the manga, by Boichi, my boy Boichi, and it is between the main character and the love interest, and up until this point, due to certain circumstances, they've been getting very close to each other, but not much time alone, and then they're about to go basically on a suicide mission, and at that point that they have, they contemplate it, and then eventually agree on having nuptials in a very just animalistic and pure, like, this is what would happen in real, like, within this, it feels like the sex scene is there to paint a more realistic picture of two people who are so in love and know that they may not see each other tomorrow, that they want to have each other right here and right now. Oh, rather than saying, oh no, these two characters, they're meant for each other, this is Disney romance, kiss, 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 but it's used appropriately in the scene and isn't just there to get your jimmies off.
A good, tasteful sex scene applied into pretty much any piece of media is supposed to give you a
except for romantic comedy.
Psychology. Yeah. At the end of the day.
Another example would be a fun little thing in Starship Troopers, the greatest movie ever made.
Yes,
it's all right.
the one where he programs the family weasel to attack his mother up her skirt, right?
Of course,
yes.
Of course, that's exact. Yes,
that's the exact scene you're referencing. Okay.
But yeah,
we gotcha.
Like how they treat all that, it's completely fine. Like everything is like in a way of like, okay, this is what it's gonna be in the future, and then this is how it's gonna be, how it is in the army when you have co-ed and stuff like that. Like, all right, hey, that's fine.
You're gonna want to fuck. That's life. Yeah. No, you're right.
But yeah, other than that, anything else that we want to touch on?
Oh, I've got something to say.
Yes.
Fucking listen, my boy Ken the 390.
Who?
Fucking,
what?
I will take any chance that I get for like, okay, if someone needs like a proper recommendation for like what drew you into Crybaby, like beyond all the really heartfelt and actually well handled depressive moments of the show, what really made it stick for you? What did you like about it the most? I have a go-to response now, and that is Ken the 390's fantastic rapping, because all of Wamu's rap scenes were handled with him on the mic.
Yeah.
He fucking killed it. Love that guy now. He's great.
Yeah, same.
And on the subject, the soundtrack in
Yes.
general of Crybaby.
I will
was
say that
beautiful.
the soundtrack in all main Devilman stuff is all spectacular.
Good.
Yeah, with two exceptions of Violence Jack, the OVAs, and the other Demon Lord Dante. Those are just like, eh. But everything else is amazing. Even like the original Devilman. It's fun.
It's a fucking banger.
Yeah.
The track specifically titled Crybaby that played during the massacre of everyone in 9
Yeah.
is a particularly it's hit the point where all that I would need to do now is go back and listen to it once, and everything that I felt then would be conveyed quite strongly at that point as well.
I'm impartial towards Nighthawk and Crybaby as well. But yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
And with that, anything else?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes?
Now that this has been settled, we have to go on and have our Lava Lantula 2 podcast. Very necessary.
Yeah, that's gonna be next week, I guess.
Yeah.
No time to waste.
Yeah. Next week, my boys. Next week.
Next week.
Hopefully next week.
Hopefully. Well, yeah, I think I can do it.
All right.
I think so.
Okie dokie.
Don't hold me to it.
Uh-huh.
Anything's possible.
For
All
sure.
right.
That was a hell of a devil cast. Final things, like, did you guys have any particular characters or scenes that stuck out to you as, like,
No, none.
as
I
personal
think
favorites?
everybody already knows, but I'm a boy who likes the extreme ending of episode 10, and I can count. I actually can't count on all my fingers and toes because it surpasses that at least 100-fold. I've seen that episode more than I can even keep track of. But yeah, everything in episode 10, aka the last episode,
Yeah.
everything in that, I just like, oh my gosh, this is what I want, and that's what I got. And that's why I like Nighthawk as the soundtrack, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. At first, I thought that Psycho Jenny, in particular, got taken out too quickly. But in hindsight, the pace of 10 in particular was breakneck, and everything had to work that way. So
I think it was pretty smart in doing that, because like the manga kind of elongates that a little bit too much. It's like, oh, I gotta get in these other new characters. Oh, gotta get all this other stuff. Like, there's one scene in which one character does the thing, and like that character is like one of the most important people in one of the mangas. I'm like, oh wow, they put her right there, and that's it. All right, that's fine. But everything else is just like breakneck and awesome, at least in my eyes.
yeah. How about you, Josiah? Any particular favorite moment of the series that summarizes and caps it all off for you?
I don't know. I'd have to watch it again to really tell you. I've already watched it twice, but not recently. So.
Are you gonna say the part where Akira Fudo paints the wall? Paints the
fuck
ceiling?
yeah.
Oh yeah, he
Paints
does.
that
He
ceiling
goes
real
full
good.
Michelangelo. Yeah.
Yeah.
He what was it? I coined the term. I said he did the Sistine Chapel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, my cousin was freaking laughing when she saw that. It's hilarious.
And as for
Wait, your
as
9-year-old
for
girl
favorite
cousin
characters.
was laughing when she saw that?
No, she has. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Cough. Wowzers, yeah. But yeah, cough. So with that, are we able to say that this is a little potty right here?
Yep, it's my potty, and
That's
I'll
in the
cry if I
pocket.
want to,
That's
and I'll
done.
Devilman
Alrighty.
Crybaby if I want to.
Alrighty. Let's see. I guess I'll end this off.
You'll take us off,
Yeah.
friend.
Take us there.
I'll put you all on simmer for now. What do we always say?
Good night, homies.
Don't
Oh.
get eliminated.
Get eliminated.
Get eliminated.
Alrighty. Bye-bye. Bye, children.
Bye-bye. Love you all.
Thank you, pero macho.